Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is just the continuation of the previous video, which is about the second episode of hypothesis testing. In today's video, I'm just use one tail test as an example to explain level of significance or significance level. And at the end of the video, I also use, I also talk about type 1 error, which is you reject a true null hypothesis. So when null hypothesis is true, but you reject it. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive in. So now instead of looking at two tails, we only look at one tail. So one tail. So this is X bar, normal distribution, large sample, normal distribution. And then we assume population mean is 85. You see, that's why we need an equal sign here. We assume this is 85, and how likely we observe a sample mean as computed sample mean, right? So let's suppose sample mean is 90. If 90 is here, we say, okay, so 90 is here, maybe it's very close to 85. 90 is here, maybe it's very close to 85, right? 90 is here, is far away from 85. So how far away is far away, right? How far away can be called significantly far away? Then we need a significance level. So now because you're only interested in whether population mean is greater than 85, and now significance level is only on one tail. Now this whole thing, this is a 5%. And then if 90 fall in this 5% area, and then we say the difference between the sample mean, the difference between sample mean and the population mean is statistically significant. Or if the sample mean this large, it's very unlikely that the population mean this small. Okay? Or if the population mean 85 is true, it's less than 5% chance we observe the sample mean this large. It's the exact same logic. But if 90 is here, and then we say, the difference between the sample mean 90 and 85 is not statistically significant, or the sample mean support the population mean is 85. Okay, so that's significance level. The reason that we call it a significance level because we use it to determine whether the difference between the hypothesized population mean and the sample mean is statistically significant. Okay, again, the reason that we call alpha significance level or level of significance is that we use it to determine whether the difference between these two things is statistically significant. Okay, if the statistically significant, we reject null hypothesis. If it's not, we fail to reject null. Okay, we rarely say we accept null hypothesis because it's like the legal process. It's like we never say this person is innocent, right? We can only say there is not enough evidence to show this person is guilty. So we never say we accept the null hypothesis. We always say we've failed to reject null. Right? We never say this person is innocent. We just say there's no enough evidence to prove this person is guilty. Okay, so same idea. Okay, so now let's look at type 1 error. Right? We talked about very detailed type 1 error in the video before. So type 1 error, so that's a significance level is actually the probability you reject a true null. So that, for example, this is X bar and this is a central limit theorem normal distribution. Let's suppose hypothesized mean is 85. Let's consider two-tail test. Okay, null hypothesis is mu equals 85. Alternative one is mu not equal to 85. So 5%. 5%. This is 2.5% and this is 2.5%. So if the 2.5, so if the sample mean fall in this area and maybe sample mean is somewhere here, and then you reject null hypothesis, right? Because based on significance level, the difference between the sample mean this large and 85 is statistically significant. So you reject null, but you might reject the true null hypothesis, right? So just a less than 2.5% chance, less than 5% chance, you observe X bar this large, maybe 90. But it's still possible. It's not impossible, right? There still be 2.5% or less than 2.5 or less than 5% chance you have this large sample mean. So maybe you just happen to select all the students with very, very high scores, and then it could happen, right? Even if the true population mean is 85, it's possible, but just very unlikely. It's possible, but just very unlikely that you randomly select sample and observe the sample mean as extreme as or more extreme than 90, but it's still possible. Oh, it's possible, right? So you might reject the true null hypothesis. This sample mean 90 is really coming from a sample which is coming from a population with a mean 85. It's possible, but just very unlikely, less than 5% chance or even less than 2.5% chance. So that means this is alpha is 5%, is also the probability that you reject a true null hypothesis is 5%, or you allow yourself to make mistake 5% of the time, or you allow yourself to reject a true null hypothesis 5% of the time. Okay, so that's type 1 error significance level. The next video will talk about the whole process of doing hypothesis testing. There are actually 5 steps. Step 1, state a null and alternative hypothesis. Step 2, significance level. You should understand significance level here. Here you go in this video. And step 3, you should know is one-tailed or two-tailed test, right? You know one-tailed or two-tailed test. You just look at the alternative hypothesis to see whether there's any direction specified in each one, right? This is the direction specified is greater than or less than, but here not equal to, so that's no direction specified in alternative hypothesis. Step 4, formulate the decision rule. We'll talk about that in next video. And step 5, conclude. Okay, so how do you make the conclusion? Use the sample data, arrive at decision. Okay. Yeah, this is a second episode of hypothesis testing, the one sample test hypothesis. Right, the next episode will be about the whole process, 5 steps, and the next series about 2 sample test hypotheses. Right, so stay tuned. Okay, by the way, I forgot to mention that. So whether 90 is in rejection area or do not rejection area, whether 90 fall in this 2.5% or here, depends on the standard error of X bar, standard error of X bar. We'll talk about that next video. Okay, here, let me draw this. Do not reject region. Right, and this will be do not reject region. And this shaded, white shaded area will be rejection area. So if sample mean fall in this white area, we reject the null hypothesis. If fall in this rejection area, we reject null hypothesis. Right? Rejection region, rejection region. Okay. Again, hope you find this helpful. Hey guys, look at that sign. Work hard and be kind. Hope you find today's video helpful. That's, as I said, that's the second half of the second episode of hypothesis testing, one sample test hypothesis. The next episode, I believe, could be the last episode of one sample test hypothesis. I will talk about the 5 steps of doing hypothesis testing. So stay tuned. See you next time. Bye.